Some people claim they've lost faith in love. And it's not always because their heart was broken. Sometimes it's because one person tore apart the very foundation they'd built together, brick by brick. This is the story of someone who confesses they were the one who caused that kind of ruin. I don't know how to begin without sounding like the villain of this tale. And maybe that's because I am. I shared 5 years with Daniel, a time that now feels like a distant dream. Our meeting was straight out of a rom-com. I clumsily spilled coffee on him in a cozy little bookshop. He didn't get upset. Instead, he chuckled, and we ended up lost in conversation for hours. Daniel had this rare gift of truly hearing you, making you feel like you were the only soul that mattered in the universe. For a long while, I believed he was my always, my forever. He was kind, thoughtful, and held this unwavering conviction that love was a powerful force, capable of overcoming any obstacle. That's probably why my actions shattered him so completely. The fracture in our story didn't appear suddenly. It started as a tiny fissure. I'd earned a promotion at work, which brought long hours, frequent business trips, and a new colleague, Ethan, who was our project manager. Ethan had a magnetic charm that Daniel, with his steady and comforting presence, didn't possess. Daniel was like a warm hearth. Ethan was a blazing wildfire. I convinced myself Ethan and I were just friends. But those innocent messages evolved into late-night phone calls, then secretive drinks after work. One evening, after an exhausting meeting, Ethan leaned in and kissed me. I didn't pull away, I kissed him back. That night, I returned home to Daniel, who was waiting on the couch with takeout, knowing I'd had a tough week. I pressed a kiss to his forehead, acting as if nothing had changed. That was the first time I hid the truth from him, but it wasn't the last. What began as a single misstep spiraled into months of deception. I built walls in my mind, telling myself my feelings for Ethan didn't diminish my love for Daniel. That was the greatest lie I told myself. Each time Ethan's name lit up my phone, my heart raced in a way it hadn't with Daniel in ages. Yet every time Daniel's smile met my eyes, a sharp pang of guilt stabbed at me, one I buried deeper each day. Then came the night when everything fell apart. Daniel had planned a romantic weekend escape for us, a secluded cabin nestled in the mountains, just the two of us, free from phones and distractions. I told Ethan I'd be unreachable for a couple of days. But on our first night there, Daniel's phone vibrated on the nightstand. He wasn't one to pry, but I was. Glancing over, I saw my name on Ethan's phone screen. My breath caught in my throat. The message wasn't overt, just a simple, "I wish you were here with me instead." I braced myself for Daniel's anger, but it never came. Instead, he looked at me, not with rage or surprise, but with a quiet, heartbreaking dawning of truth. He didn't shout or lash out. He simply asked, "How long has this been going on?" In that moment, I could have spun a lie, downplayed it, blamed it on work pressure, or called it a meaningless flirtation. But the weight of his gaze forced the truth out of me. 6 months, I admitted. He gave a single nod, rose from the bed, and walked out of the cabin into the night. I sat there, staring at the door, expecting him to return. He didn't. The next morning, I drove home alone, the silence deafening. Days later, I received a brief text from him. "I'll send someone to collect my things." No phone calls, no tears, just an empty quiet. I didn't see Daniel again for nearly a year. I hoped time might mend what I'd broken, that we could at least have a conversation. But when we crossed paths at a mutual friend's engagement party, his eyes barely met mine. Someone teased him about being single for so long, and he replied almost casually, "Yeah, I don't put much stock in love anymore." His words weren't aimed at me, but they cut deeper than any accusation could. That's when I realized the full extent of my actions. I hadn't just ended our relationship. I'd demolished his belief in the one thing he cherished most. I tried to apologize that night, stumbling over my words. He listened with polite detachment, then said, "You're sorry because you feel bad for yourself, not because you truly understand what this did to me." Then he turned and walked away. He was right. My remorse was tainted by selfishness. I wanted his forgiveness not just for his sake, but to absolve myself, to feel like I wasn't the monster I'd become. But forgiveness is a gift, not a right, and some wounds never fully heal. It's been 3 years since that night. I've dated others, but nothing feels the same. Each time I start to care deeply for someone, I see Daniel's eyes from that night in the cabin, hollowed out, as if the world had crumbled beneath him. Friends tell me to move on, that everyone makes mistakes, that I shouldn't carry this guilt forever. But I don't want to let it go. Forgetting would mean I've learned nothing from the pain I caused. I was the hurricane that raised someone else's sanctuary. Maybe Daniel will find someone worthy of him and rebuild one day. But if he never does, I'll always know I'm the reason why. Love takes years to nurture trust, but a single selfish act can reduce it to ashes. They say time heals all wounds, but for some, it only teaches them how to carry the scars. The deepest heartbreak isn't always losing the one you love. It's knowing you were the one who stole their belief in love itself.